Welcome to Learning Partner. In this episode, we are going to see how we can create a to-do app and we will be storing the data into local storage. So once you refresh the page also, still you will be able to see your data. Okay. So this is the normal HTML I have created. I have taken a Bootstrap 5 into this project. Uh, I have used the card to display this UI, and inside that I have a text box, color picker, and the add button. Okay. So things like first we will do with just a string array, like we will add something in the text box and on click of add that will get added in the bottom list. Okay. And to show the to do items, we are going to use the simple div, okay, with some background color. Now let me show you the HTML. So as you can see, I have created a row column structure. First column D3 is empty. Then in column D6, I have the card. So as you can see, I have used the card, then card header background, BG success for the background color and text white. Okay. Then in the card body, I have a text box, a color picker. I will comment the color picker for now, because first we are going to see normal string array. Okay, on click of add we will store all the items in the below. Okay, so let's start with the Angular code. So first we have to create an string variable which we will bind to the text box. So that will be to do item, that will have a data type string with initialization empty value. Then second variable we will need is to do items array. Items array, here we will store all the arrays which we will create once we add. Okay, so instead of any you can get the string also. Instead of any you can make it as a string, because we know that we are going to store the string data, so you can make it as a string. Okay, so for now I have to bind this to do item in my HTML with ng model. I'm not going to take the basic like why the forms module we have to use. I'm guessing like like before using ng model we have to import the forms module. Okay. Okay. So once we save both the files, you can see ng model is binded. Next thing, on click of add, we need to add this. We need to create an event that will be click event on item adding on item add. That is my function name which we will create. Now we need to create this function in our .ts. So it's a good way to create all the functions after ng on in it. Okay, so now here what we have to do, we just have to push the to do item into my to do items array. So this dot to do items array dot push, then in round bracket we have to pass this dot to do item. Okay, so let's see this for now. And next thing is like we need to use the for loop on the bottom div what we are repeating. So whatever the static elements we had, so we can get rid of that. So we can use star ng for is equal to let item of to do item array. Then instead of this static div one, I will be printing whatever the text I have. Since currently I have the string array, so I can directly print the value. Let me remove all these. Okay, so let's just save and check. Okay, so if we add something, okay, so you can see it is being added. Let's try to add the second one. Now if you can see on clicking of add, that text box is not getting emptied, so we can do that also. Okay, so let's just do that. On click of add, once we add that to the array, we can empty that text box with simply this dot our to do item is equal to with empty initialization. So let's check it now. Let's try to add some. So see, now that text box is getting emptied, so we can add one more. Okay, now this is very simple. Next thing is like we need to store this array. Now if you refresh the browser, see the added elements you cannot see because we have just stored that array into a variable. We haven't stored anything into local storage or onto any server. So for now, we will be storing this data into a local storage item. Okay. So for that, once we add, we have to store this array into local storage item. So while storing the data into local storage, we need to convert this array into string format. So for that, local storage, to store the data into local storage, we have to use the method of get set item. Okay. Set item, let's provide the key name as to do items, to do items. Okay, and value will be json.stringify. Since we have to string it, we have to convert our array into string format, so we have to use json, capital json, capital json dot stringify. Inside the stringify, we have to pass our array, that will be this dot to do items array. Okay, so let's just test this now. Okay, let's add one or two array elements. Let's just see first in the local storage. Okay, so currently we just have one, we don't have any key. Okay, so let me remove that. Now if we add something, let's say first node. Okay, and if we click on add, so you can see in the local storage, you can see the key is added, that is to do item, and with the value first node. Okay, let's add a second one, second node. On click of add, you can see that is getting modified. Now if you refresh, still you cannot see the added items, but in local storage we have that. So when the page load, on the page load, that is on ng on init, we have to read the data from the local storage and assign it back to our array. So right, we can create a constant local data is equal to local storage dot get item. To read the data from the local storage, we have to use the method get item. Then we have to pass the key. Our key is to do item that we have used while setting the item. Okay, so here we can add an additional check, like if it is not empty, if it is not null, if local data is not equal to null, okay. So if not equal to null, what we have to do, we just have to assign the, now while storing the data into local storage, we have stored that into the string format. So now while assigning that, we have to convert that string data into object again, array object again. So we have to use this dot to do items array, to do items array is equal to json dot parse. To convert string into object, we have the method json dot parse, and we have to pass the local data. Okay, now let's see. See, on the page load, you can see whatever the data we had in the, even if we refresh multiple times, still we can see the data. Okay, let's try to refresh. See, still data is visible over there. Even if we close the browser, close this current tab and open the tab again, still you can see, because local storage data will be there unless we clear it. Okay, see, data is still there. So this is how we store the data into the local storage. Now in this example, what we have done, we have stored the data of string array. Let's try to store that. Now you can see color is constant because we haven't allowed user to select the color. Let's say I want to organize the to do item based on the color system. Okay, let's say some tasks are important, so I will give them red color or something. So for that I have to create the object. Now instead of string, we will be creating object. So let's create one more variable, one more object, that is to do object, and in that we will have two fields with any equal to curly bracket, enter. To do item, that will be our string variable that we will bind to the text box. Next is color colon string. Okay, so now we have an object with two fields, that is to do item and color. Now we have to bind the same to our text box. Now instead of directly to do item, we have to bind object dot to do item. Okay, so now instead of directly string, we are binding the object. Now let's uncomment the color text box, color picker, and here also we can bind the ng model. Again, to do object dot color, the second field we have created in the object. Okay, so now we have the object and two fields, I mean first text box and the color is binded with that object. Now on click of add item, instead of pushing the wait, one more thing we have to change. The data type of the array was string, now we have to make it any. Okay, now we are not storing the string array, so now we are storing the string object array. So for that, in to do item, instead of to do item, we have to pass the to do object. Okay, and we have to initialize the to do object again with the empty. This dot to do object is equal to, again initialize with empty values. Same thing we can just copy paste. Okay, so let's see the same thing in action. Okay, so what we have done, like we have pushed the object instead of string. Now let's try to do the same. Now if we previously we had the string array, so we have directly put it as an item, but now we had array of objects, so we have to give item dot then this property to do item. Okay, now let's just see this. On click of add, let's select something color. Okay, now if we see in the local storage, we have got the object which has two properties, to do item and the node color. Okay, now what we need to do, let's try to add 2 or 3 nodes with different colors. First node. Okay, so let's try to add a second node with some red color. Let's add one more node with blue color. Now every color we are giving as a blue, I mean the static sky blue color is coming because we haven't done that dynamic style. Okay, now let's just do that color binding. Let's go to the Visual Studio. Now to this to do item div, we have to use property binding, that is style dot background style. Okay, so after style we have to make the background color property dynamic, background hyphen color. So instead of, now we have to provide the value item dot the ng model value, that is color. In object we have item dot color. So let's save it and check it. Now we will get the colors dynamic. See, whatever the colors we had, we are got that. Let's try to add one more with green color. Okay, so if we choose the green color and click on it, so you can see we have got the cards with various colors also. So we have seen storing the string array also in the local storage and seen storing the array of object also. Now scenario can be anything. It can be a simple employee form, a user form, or anything. But this is the way how we store the data into local storage. Okay, in next video we will be seeing how we can delete and edit, I mean basic all the CRUD operation. Okay, till then please do like and subscribe. Thank you.